Let's now turn our analysis to another data set and another application of association rules, this one pertaining to the grim accident of Titanic going under 100 years ago. So this here is the data set. We have, first of all, 5 columns with data, and it's the person's number. There are 2,200 persons, 2,201 persons altogether. The class, so is it the crew member, first, second, third class passenger? The sex, males and females. The age, which just is child or adult. And the survival. And it's really not much we can tell from this table this way, so we'll run it through association rules, but we'll have to note that association rules now comes in tabular format. So this is as if to say for our market basket analysis that the third class is together with a male, is together with a child, is together with no survival. So in such a set, we can still look for association rules here and drill in the data. Let's go to SAP Predictive Analytics. Let's do File and New. Let's choose CSV file. We've done all that before, so I'll do it rather quickly. I'm going to feed the Titanic CSV in here, and then do a creative database. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is prepare. Let's take a look at the data column by column. So first of all, we have close to 900 crew members, 700 in the third class, half of that in the first class, something like that in the second class. Males and females, we have 1.7K in the males department, 470 females, so that's probably thanks to the crew being male. We can check that out once. We can just take class, select filter, and do just crew, which is a yes or no. The complete composition of males and females. There were, though, 23 female crew members. Let's go back to the column by column analysis. So, children, there were 100 children on board. Survival, 2/3 did not survive. So such a set of data. Now, the next thing we want to do is let's look at the Grimmy statistic. Let's select children, and let's go back to filtering. So let's do age. Choose 65 child. Okay. So now we got children out there, and survival is 50-50, which is something that did happen in such a life-threatening situation. Let's clear the filter. Let's go to males. Choose 65. Filter male. Okay, and we can see that males survived. Well, 1 out of 5 males survived. And when we look at females, then it's filter, sex, filter, female, okay, and let's clear the male filter out. So it's just a female filter. We can see that for females, the survival was a slightly higher ratio than 1 out of 5. And we can also finally look at the class-wise survival. So we can look at how, for instance, go to survived, select all the survived people, choose 65 survival, and then look at the class-wise composition, and we can see that. And let's take the females out, just survival. And we can see that in the first class we have 200 survivals. And remember that third class was double the size, and we have less survivals. The crew was the same as third class, even more, and we have just slightly more than first class survivals. Okay, now let's go and use the association rules. Next, we'll click on the predict, which is a yes or no. We've got our data set of Titanic information. We go to algorithms, or a priori double click on it, and this time we're going to click on the settings, configure settings, and we'll do the default options, which means we've got support of 0.1 this time and confidence of 80%. A rather high confidence and support values. We have, which is a yes or no format, and we'll do select everything besides the number of the person, which is informationally non-relevant. We'll output in rules, and we do done, and let's run this thing as well. And it's a smaller data set, so it runs real time. It's just 2,000 transactions, and now we have those rules, and we're going to go to the association chart first. Let's look at that. Use 6v5. As our predictions are lined up, the redder the role is, the higher confidence we have in it. And the bigger the role is, the higher lift we have in it. So first of all, let's take a look at this rule. We have a rule which says, if you're a third-class passenger, if you're a male, if you're an adult, you did not survive. So that rule has quite a big lift, but it doesn't have that 100% confidence. So obviously, its confidence is 83%. So obviously, we have third-class passengers, males, adults who did survive as well. It was not a iron-cast rule. But there is another rule which has confidence in 99.55%, which reads, if you're a crew member and you did not survive, you were a male. So since that confidence is not 100%, there was also some kind of a crew member who did not survive who was female. So that's the way to read into those rules. Let's take a look at this rule for a second longer. We can see this as an if-then sentence. If you were a crew member and you did not survive, you were a male. This means that since the confidence is not 100%, it means that there was also a crew member who did not survive who was a female. So that's how to read into those rules. Of course, intuitively, we would like to place this rule a bit differently. We would like to put the survive no into the right side of the equation. If you were a crew member who was male, how high was the survival percentage? But this percent itself is going to be lower. It will have lower confidence, I would guess. So we may search for this rule later on. What we want to do next here is run the association rules again with lower thresholds. So let's go to Designer. Let's click on Configure Settings. For a priori, let's put here just 1% and 0.4, let's say. And association rule analysis is always a kind of digging inside the data. So let's try to make sense of this set of rules. And we are going to go back to the cloud, word cloud. And now we have very many rules. So first of all, let's take a look at some of those rules. First of all, if you were in the first class, an adult, and you survived, then you were a female. So more females survived in the first class. Let's take a look at this rule. If you're a second class passenger and you survived, you were a female. But now on the other hand, if you were a male and a child and you didn't survive, then you were mostly in the third class. So just to gather some ideas. One interesting pointer for information here is that these rules here, which are rather small, that their lift is rather small, are actually with a lift of 1.61. So remember, the lift in the previous table were to 1.27. So this means that we have now in this table a lot of more lifting rules. So that's because we lowered both the confidence and the support thresholds. But we can even do this here. So let's do such a thing. Down here are sliders. We can put the support value back to like 10%, which it was. And we can put the confidence value back to 80%, which it also was, or at least around about that value. And now we have the original graph back. So one way for us to drill through the data would be to generate really many rules and then start playing with those sliders here.